This is Love and Friendship. My name is Sarah.
My name is Alex Silberman.
Michael Corinne. And what do we have tonight, sir?
We have a very special book and guest by the author right here, Alex.
Hello, my name is Alex Silberman. I'm a local author, and my first book is called Hitchin. Thank you. And it's about my trip about 5 years ago, starting out in Boston Harbor, going clear across a little bit by way of southern Ontario to Santa Cruz, California, and then up and down the west coast and out east.
And why did you do this?
I'd been working for Outward Bound out of Philadelphia and Baltimore for a little while, and before that I had thought about doing a cross country trip, whether it was going to be hiking or hitchhiking. I didn't know, and then I figured it would take a while to walk that far. And in terms of working in the outdoors, I kind of wanted to not be taking care of anyone after a little while. And so I was at a certain point, I just set a date and came back to the Boston area and picked up all the little supplies I needed and just started walking out from the Boston Harbor.
Just to do it, huh?
For the adventure of the trip, yes, the challenge and adventure.
Wow!
Did you have a number of months or a time frame set for the hitching?
No, I didn't have a time frame set, but I waited till it was warmer. So it was May when I started, and then I think finally finished up in August or September or so by the end of the whole trip. But it took about 3 weeks or so, 3.5 weeks to get out to the West Coast.
That's all, huh?
Yeah, it was pretty quick. It was
Wow.
pretty quick, actually. Yeah.
So you started, where did you start hitching?
I started hitching right from the Boston Harbor, and I have a passage if we want to start there.
Sure.
We'll talk for a little
Yes.
bit. Okay. And just right before you get started, just a little, normal marketing thing. So my book Hitchin is available right now on Amazon, paperback, Kindle, and it's available right now at the Millionaire Picnic and Harvard Bookstore, both right in Harvard Square. 7 stars right here in Central Square, and then over in Winchester at Bookends. Also, I'll be doing an audio recording in Rhode Island at the end of March.
Oh, of the book?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So it'll be an audio book.
Oh,
in a little
wow.
while.
You
We'll get it all mastered up and everything else.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I'll start up right now.
So we're getting a preview of the audio recording.
I guess we are. Yes, we are. I'm just going to read through the acknowledgments and then just the first little bit. So I'd like to say thanks to all of the characters I met along the way. Special thanks to Anthony, Nicole, Tom, and Wendy for their help during the writing and editing process, and of course the ladies for all their support.
With the ladies.
My mother's.
Wow, there
You gotta always thank the ladies.
Or the ladies along the way.
Yeah, them too as well, definitely.
Right?
Both.
That's what I
Both.
assumed
But
when
that's-
I read that.
That's an old-fashioned word.
Oh yeah. I think my older sister and brother kind of coined it for fun as they go, "Are the ladies coming?"
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, the ladies are great, but the ladies are also a lot too. The ladies are in Vietnam as we speak, actually.
Wow.
Yeah,
These ladies are your mother.
Yes, and they're adventurous in their own right. Yeah. But to begin, all right. So Hitchin, Chapter 1, 6/23/15, Day 1, Tuesday. Quest: a long or arduous search for something. I walked down from Atlantic Ave to the Boston Harbor and ceremonially dipped the toe of my right boot into the water of the Atlantic to begin my journey west.
Wow.
From the Boston Common, I strode toward the public gardens. Aside from the path, there were a few guys sitting on the dirt next to the grass. Their eyes caught the load on my back. We exchanged the basics. "Where are you going?" they said, looking interested. I stopped and caught my breath. Sweat poured out of my body. The walk had caught up to me. "Out to Santa Cruz," I said. The outspoken one of the bunch, who looked more tumble than rough, spoke up. "You know there's a lighthouse you should check out when you get out to Santa Cruz." Then he mentioned a few other locales, while he freely gave all this information, his tattered shirt hanging loosely. I couldn't help but think, doubt I'm going to see any of the places he mentioned when I finally hit the left coast. I left them with a cheery smirk, motivated to get out of the city.
Wow. So where did you go for the first hitch?
Yeah, so I ended up at the Newton commuter rail station, and then I kept walking a little further, and I finally got a few smaller rides out to Worcester. I got this guy who's moving some small objects in a smaller
And you went on just a small road, not a highway?
I went out on Route 9. So
Oh.
Route 9 from the Newton Highland commuter rail station to...
As you stood by a light, is that it?
Oh, I kind of walked along the way. There's mostly a sidewalk. There was also a almost looked like a dam or bridge. I thought I had to go across.
So did you walk with your thumb out, or
I made a sign. I made a sign with a Sharpie
on the back, on your back?
on a piece of cardboard.
And then you held it up, or what?
Yes, yeah. So what you do is you just take a sign like this, or imagine the book is kind of the sign for the moment. Go like this, and then kind of thumb this way, and then kind of look back, but also walk forward at the same time. So that way you're covering some ground, especially if you don't want to stay in the same place.
The sign would be facing backwards.
What? Yeah, the sign would kind of be like this. You kind of have the sign like this.
Oh, you hold it. Wow.
Yeah. I think it'd be in the reverse for the audience.
And what did the sign say?
The sign would just say the next destination, but it said a few more fun things later on as well. And sometimes you found out later on that you should put a smiley face on your sign as well, because subconsciously, I guess people are more likely to pick you up.
So what was your destination when you started?
So I wanted to go from Boston to Santa Cruz.
So you wrote Santa Cruz?
No. But I believe I wrote Worcester first.
Oh.
And then once I was in Worcester, for fun, once I got a little ways out, after a few other hitches, I was in West Brookfield. I was just like, all right, I'm gonna go for it. And the first location that I wanted to hit was Niagara Falls. So then I put Niagara Falls on the sign.
From Worcester?
Yeah. So you got a few rides, nothing too big in the first few rides, but then I made the sign for Niagara Falls, and then things started to change a little bit.
In what way?
Well, I'll have to read the next section.
Okay. And you've never hitched, have you, Sarah?
Never a hitch, but I did spend close to a year traveling in Central America, and then 3 months, and I visited my friend in the Peace Corps in the Philippines. So I did some of Southeast Asia. So I love the fact that I want to see the size of your backpack. I basically just ended up tossing a bunch of stuff and ended up with this really small bag, and just kept like my polyester clothes, washed them with soap in the sink, laid them out to dry. That's pretty much how I lived for 3 months.
Wow.
And it was super freeing.
And how'd you get from place to place?
It was so inexpensive in
the
those
buses,
places.
or?
Yeah. It was awesome.
Wow.
Nice. All right. Let's see. Okay. Chapter 2. Brandon Chafee. What a ride. Who is this guy? Standing by Route 9 in a grass patch, sign flung over back attached to my stretching rope, which hung over my neck, I took a drink of water. Mass accent. Get the fuck in the car! A white pickup with a lot of shit in the back. Hopped in, landing on shit. Keep ya head down so the cops don't see ya. Going down the road through town, pulled off to the driveway, and where? What? Where? Hey, I'm Brandon, look at my donkey. He hops up, stands straight up, and poses on his donkey. Oscar likes apples. Grab one. What are you, a festy kid or something? No. What does your sign say? Niagara Falls. You want a cocktail? I need a cocktail. We hung out, had a few drinks, and smoked till it started to get dark and our stomachs began to rumble. We headed to a fine local restaurant for a delicious meal where Brandon knows the staff and I paid, with him promising, I'll pay you back real soon.
Wow. That was one of your first
Yeah, so that is a man by the name of Brandon Chafee.
Yeah.
And I ended up going with him all the way he picked me up right there in his pickup truck, and a lot of his life was a little chaotic at that point. And I can continue on in a moment, but we started to go towards Niagara Falls.
Oh.
So I'm going to read a little further now and just finish off that part, but then I'll go and can see a little bit more what the backpack looked like, what the rope looked like, and we have all those objects here. Cool. By the way, there are maps as well. I don't know how well you can see it from here, but you're in the books. I drew pictures of kind of what happened along the way. So I don't know if you can see or.
There's Worcester and
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Anyway. Off to Niagara we went the next day. So there was a lot going on. Strife over a canceled festival, pig jam with mascot Oscar the Donkey. Broken relationships abound, girlfriend-wise, friend-wise, and lawsuit counterclaims because of issues with the festival property. Brandon going to town meetings, calling people out for the amount of heroin moving through Ware. Now off to the races with his voice in my head, quotes of hilarity and advice. God doesn't like a coward. I'd look nice if I had a rich husband. If you want something done, ask someone that's already busy. I got death threats in Worcester.
I didn't understand. It's interesting, but I didn't understand it.
Oh, it's kind of, I can read those again, but those are basically,
What
those are
people
just
were
kind
saying?
of
Yeah.
aphorisms. Yeah, those are just like quotes of his life, what he lives by,
Oh,
what's going on in his life, and,
Oh, this
and
is
quotes
all
he.
from him. You read
This is
it again.
all from him. Yes.
And he was supposed to be working with the festival, and that got.
Yeah, so his festival on his private land, and things kind of got a little squirrely with the festival involving the city and some lawsuits and this and that and the other and relationships. And so a lot was going on with him at the time, and he kind of needed a little break. Yeah.
Now, does he hold the festival every year?
He no longer holds the festival with everything, legal
Yeah.
proceedings and everything that happened, but he's a real go-getter of guy, Rapazian man. I just saw him last week, so
That's awesome.
so I'm gonna try to hopefully get him on the sound recording, and it'll be a lot better in his own voice saying those things, and he's a real powerful character. But
That's great, and you still keep in touch with him and probably a few other people.
a few other people, I'd say mainly him. Other people were more people I knew before the trip, but yeah, definitely. He's one of the few that I actually have kept.
You know what you remind me of now? I love taking lifts.
Yeah.
And sitting in the front seat,
Yes.
like I used to hitch.
Yeah.
And people will tell me their life story
Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely.
from here to Newton.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so much similar. Especially since when I go in, I give them a $5 tip
Oh, that helps.
to start. Yeah. And then we have a nice conversation.
Yeah.
They don't usually ask too much about me.
No, really.
No, they usually want to talk about their own lives.
Oh yeah, I bet. Especially if you're driving around all day.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
So that's my modern hitchhiking. Go to pay.
All right. So I'll read those few through again, and I'll just read them in a regular voice. So hopefully it'll be a little easier to understand.
So this is just this one guy.
This is just his quotes. God doesn't like a coward. I'd look nice if I had a rich husband.
Now what is God doesn't like a coward? What you know? What inspired these words?
I think it's just what he has felt and learned from living life.
Is
And
he saying these things?
Oh
at
yes.
random?
Oh yeah. He's saying these things,
At random?
and he's like doing something, and he'll just be like, "God doesn't like a coward." This,
Wow.
and then popping up, and he's kind of very go guy, kind of busy guy, works with his hands.
So while
I
he's
believe
doing
working
this,
in
he just
lumber
says
right
this?
now. Yeah. So he's and he was moving. He had a lot going on that time. So he was moving. He was showing me the festival space. All while this was going on, we're like hopping in and out of his pickup truck. There, we're going to get a meal. He's a live wire.
And
A
you're
live
getting
wire
these.
at that
And
point.
you're getting these.
Real
little,
good guy though.
Little aphorisms.
Yes. Yes.
No context.
No. There's, I mean, the context is as it's going on, but it's definitely had to feel it in the moment.
I see.
Definitely had
So
to
you might have been talking about someone who was cowardly.
Yeah, well, we just got. It's kind of like God doesn't like a coward. So it's like if someone was like anxious to do something,
Yes.
or be like that, well, I might as well go and do it. God doesn't like a coward.
Wow.
So that's kind of him. It's his attitude, but he's a particularly energetic and a lot going on in that moment. Yeah.
So you could learn stuff from these people.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah,
Yeah.
I learned a number of different things, and learn a few things, and also some is just conversation for the ride as well. But yeah. So there's I'd look nice if I had a rich husband. If you,
What he's talking about a rich husband?
yeah. So he's joking that he would look a lot better if he had a rich husband to pay for. Him to look nice or pay for all his clothes.
Gee.
It's very tongue in cheek.
Not a rich wife, even.
No, well, it's he's pretending that he's the wife. I think is the joke. Yeah.
And what else?
If you want something done, ask someone that's already busy.
What does that mean?
I think that's one of his better, more concrete ones. That's like, if you're gonna get someone like. He works in construction, and I've done some painting for. I think it's the idea that like, for the most part, if you're just waiting for it, let's say, for instance, I wanted to create this book, or when you created your book, if you're going to someone who's like, oh yeah, I'll just do it for you. I'll do it for you. There's a good chance that okay, maybe they just need the money, but maybe the quality of their work won't be the highest.
I suppose someone who's very busy.
But if someone's already busy and they're high quality at their work, then that's probably the person you actually want to get whatever.
Yeah.
If they're in the zone, they're just gonna get it done.
They're gonna get it done. They're just
not
gonna knock it out.
procrastinating.
No, they're like, okay, what's next? Let's
Good
do
to
it.
know these things. Good to know these
Yeah. And then his other one was a concrete and true one. Which I don't know how true it was, but I think it was definitely true, is I got death threats in Worcester. Which had to do with the festival going haywire and a few sketchy characters and
now
this and that. Yeah.
Now I understand.
Yeah. So,
I'm glad I asked.
yeah. So that's that
So
one.
that was your first serious lift, right?
Yeah, and that went all the way from Ware, Massachusetts, Central Mass,
Yes.
the west of Worcester, all the way to Niagara Falls.
Wow, that was how long did that take? 5 hours, 6.
Yeah, I believe it was somewhere in that range, 5 to 7.
So you lucked out. You had written Niagara Falls.
Yeah. I just showed him my piece
That
of
is
cardboard, and he was
amazing.
pumped, and he wanted to get out of town anyway.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And I think it helps a little that it was summertime and people are just looking for a reason sometimes. So yeah.
And what did you think of Niagara Falls?
I liked it. It was a little strange. The two of us visitors. It's a very family place, and we were two guys in our late 20s, early 30s at the time. So it was But we did the Maid of the Mist tour. It was very beautiful. It's a lot of casinos on both sides. So we went out gambling. I showed them how to gamble. It was fun. The falls are very impressive. But at the same time, and we had fun. And we played glow in the dark miniature golf for fun.
So
we were just
who's
looking
kind of
for
your
fun, yeah.
Your companion?
Oh yeah. We stayed there for a few days.
Wow.
Did you stay? I know some of the places they have heart-shaped tubs. You
Uh,
had to avoid those.
Well, I mean, if it was
Yeah.
cheap, I don't think we would have cared. No, we just stayed at a cheap motel outside of town. So
How much? Like
I don't know, 30 to
Wow.
$50 or something.
Wow.
I don't know, something like that.
And
yeah.
Canadian.
Well,
Right.
we
Oh,
no, we were on the American side,
side.
and then I crossed over the Canadian side, and then I was sleeping in the bushes
Yeah.
up from the
and
casinos.
it's
Yeah.
no problem to cross to Canada.
So we tried to cross. That was one of the annoying things because the Canadian side's a lot better. It just looks a lot nicer.
Yes.
Better parkland. American Niagara is a lot crummier. But so they changed the laws a number of years back, so you can no longer just use a driver's license. So you have to have a passport. So I had a passport because I knew I was probably going to head up that way, but he didn't have a passport. So unfortunately,
Oh, you had a park company?
unfortunately, we could get on the bridge, but you can't actually cross over. So yeah. But so I crossed over later on, and that's actually the next part.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
He must have been disappointed. He didn't have a passport.
Oh yeah, he was, but we tried to make the
Yeah,
best of it,
yeah.
and we're still right at Niagara Falls, and we had a kind of good time and good place for him to figure out a few things about his life for that time being. So, yeah. All right. So the next part is Southern Ontario, and it is the first family I would say I met along the journey.
We should have, I guess, Willie Nelson playing On the Road again.
That'd be good. I actually put on YouTube a bunch of songs, about 6 songs that were taken right from the song. But of course, yeah, one of the first ones was Wagon Wheel, so in the same tune. Anyway, ended up walking by a strawberry cellar, and a car that had passed me by earlier, heading the other way, now stopped and rolled down the window. Woman by the name of Marianne asked if I needed a ride. Strange. Nicer neighborhood, a bunch of golf courses around, and the first ride from a woman on the trip. She took me back to her place, and I met her husband and her adult kids.
She asked you if you weren't even having a sign, or?
Yeah, so I'm sure I probably had a sign at that point, and I was walking down the street, and
Yes.
I think she was a concerned mother, and so she was looking out a little bit. I think there was some of that. I was surprised. She's the first woman to pick me up
This
as well.
is Ontario.
This is Southern Ontario, and Canadians. It helps that it was in Canada too.
Yes.
People are friendlier, and took a shower. She threw my dirty clothes in the laundry, and I changed them.
Wow! Another nice mother.
Yeah, definitely. And I changed into pants and a shirt of her husband Donnie.
No!
At the time, I still have the shirt that says I got lucky at the Brassy. Had a delicious steak dinner with corn, a full family meal. Then we played cornhole out in the yard with the sun setting over the crops.
What's cornhole?
So cornhole is a game with bean bags, and one was painted with an American flag, and then the other was painted with a Canadian flag, and you just throw it into the hole in the middle, and that's how you score points, kind of. Yeah.
Like a good flipping.
Yeah.
And that's funny. So in Canada, they have the 2 flags. Because here it's just a color. You pick whatever beanbag color.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if it was homemade or not, but it was kind of a
That's
farm area, a lot of
Yeah.
corn around, so they could easily just picked it up, and kind of beautiful setting sun at the time that we were doing it. Let's see. Had a delicious steak dinner with corn, a full family meal. Then we played cornhole out in the yard with the sun setting over the crops. One board stars and stripes, the other a maple leaf. Marianne showed me her garden with squash, beans, and maize planted symbiotically. Okay, and then I kind of go over to tips. So some tips from the road. Tip: when you get into a vehicle, keep them talking. They may take you farther than originally thought.
Wow! Shame.
Oh, you gotta do it. You gotta do it.
Yeah.
Tip: when you get into someone's car for the first time, all they can see is the person in front of them. They know not your story nor you theirs. Both of you will have to hazard guesses for your own protection and well-being. All either of you can judge before words are uttered is simply what your senses can take in. Try to find objectivity. You might have more in common than you thought.
Now, do you look carefully before you get in?
Yeah. And there's another photo right there. It's a little small, but yeah.
Do you look carefully before you get into the? Have you ever rejected a lift?
I hadn't, but I mean, I know what I looked like at the time. I had long dreadlocks, big beard, worked in the outdoors. I'm wearing exactly what I'm wearing today. So basically kind of some outdoors here as well, and changed as it got warmer later on in the trip. But I think I look friendly, but also potentially intimidating too. So
Yeah,
it's kind of a good side of the coin. So I mainly just hopped in. I mainly
Yeah,
hop in,
so-
but I was aware of who I was getting in the car with. I was aware if someone was a drug addict. I was aware, if someone was nervous.
But
later-
that would be too late, right?
What?
Once
Yeah.
you're in, you're in.
No, you can tell them to stop.
Oh yes, I have done that. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, you can tell them to stop. I mean,
Yeah.
are they going to stop or not? But and it's also where you take the conversation and kind of how you ease them in, or you just kind of have to judge it and play it by ear, definitely.
Spitty women can't hitchhike.
They do hitchhike.
They
do.
do?
I met on the road.
No,
yeah.
alone?
The
or was
U.S.,
it-
Canada,
Yeah,
or both?
alone.
Women hitching alone.
Yes, they still to this day. Yes.
Whoa.
Yeah, definitely.
More in Canada or U.S. or?
This was in the U.S. in Utah that I met this young. I think she was 18 actually, and but she's smart. She was androgynously dressed, so you couldn't tell from a distance because most people, especially, are pulling up from a little bit of a distance. And she had dreadlocks and she had flannel that was loose fitting clothing. So that was smart by her. It was smart by her.
Wow, great.
Yeah. So and she was really young, 18, and kind of going for it.